everyone, and welcome to our next installment to the I Am Thankful series, which is a segment of Dolly Tales we're doing for the month of November to commemorate Thanksgiving, and we're going to talk about a doll thing we're each grateful for and a non-doll related thing we're each grateful for.
I was thinking about, among other things, what I'm grateful for this week, and I thought about it as I was grabbing Molly out of my room, is I'm really grateful that, between Shelly's natural resourcefulness and, the resources available, whether it's the internet or collector's books, I'm grateful for the different restoration techniques that we've discovered since adulthood. Because, I think back to, those primitive days back in the late 90s, early 2000s when Shelly, washed and conditioned, our Polly Pocket Whitney doll's hair, used that no bedhead spray on Dance Club Barbie, aka Kula, and made them look a lot nicer than they did before. And I was like, wow, it's a miracle. Kula looks like new. Whitney looks like new. When really, not so much. But, there's dolls that, like my old Molly, who something like that, those primitive techniques, did absolutely nothing for. I don't know if my dad were here if he would even recognize Molly, because she has altered just so much in the last 5 years. She's really come a long way. She just looks so much better, and I'm really grateful because while I have 3 other Molly dolls, it's really nice because this was my first Molly doll, and no one would ever replace this Molly doll. I just feel like while she'll never look perfect, she looks as good as we can make her look without changing out any parts, and I'm thankful.
And we can buy dolls.
Like Caroline, or my 80s Molly that, a few years back when we weren't as confident at restoring dolls, we would never have wanted to invest in dolls like them that needed that much work.
And I know a lot of people, they'll buy a doll, and I was talking to someone on Flickr who actually bought a Caroline doll secondhand, and they didn't know how to take care of her hair, and they ended up regretting buying her because they couldn't fix it. And I think that's the great part about having that knowledge, like you said, is you can...
Yeah, it really changes what you can buy. I mean, we have, for example, 60s Barbies. We don't come across them all that much. And a few years back when we discovered Shelly's talking PJ and Barbie, and their legs fell off, we were actually able to fix it because Shelly knows how to fix the legs. So it's nice that that technique was able to save another doll that we wouldn't have been able to take in otherwise, and fix Shelly's old 70s superstar, Shayla, who had the same problem.
My doll related thing that I'm grateful for, I'm actually really grateful that I took a break from the internet for about a year, the doll community on the internet, obviously. I talked a lot about this in my video, Remember Why You Love Dolls. It's labeled as my most important video. It's from last year. And I talk a lot about my journey on social media and what I learned from my first really bad experience on Flickr, and how it taught me the true meaning of dolls and why I collect them. But basically, to summarize, after my dad had passed away, I thought I would start uploading to Flickr, an old account, and that would distract me from what had happened, and that I would connect with these doll collectors, and it would all be well and merry. And I found the dark side of the doll collecting community, and people were very ridiculously judgmental. And a lot of times when I share some of the things that people said to me on Flickr a long time ago, here on YouTube, you guys will be like, really? That's ridiculous. People thought it was wrong and inferior to shop on eBay, or I remember one time someone told me if you boil wash your doll too much, it's unnecessary. You don't need to boil wash every doll. Or, oh, if you use conditioner on your doll, you're cheating. The real way is to
or Wire, Monster High, re-release dolls weren't as good as the actual originals.
You name it. Or the Pleasant Company is better than Mattel for American Girl. Every single thing just got ripped apart, and I got sucked into all of that drama, and I made some friends who were toxic. The community was toxic, and I lost myself as a doll collector. I stopped having fun, and got to the point where I wasn't enjoying my dolls anymore. And in fact, if anything, they just reminded me of all the negative things that people said. Not necessarily about my dolls, oh, your doll's ugly, but quite literally just that people would make me feel bad about liking something that wasn't superior to them, newer Barbies, or paranoying me about oh, the glue, you don't want to buy dolls with glue. It got in my head and infected me like a virus, and I'm really, really glad that I deleted that account and took a year off from doll social media, because I feel that's how I found myself again. And I feel like I was so happy to get back into dolls when my dad was sick after like a 5-year break. Like, it brought so much joy back into my life, and I feel like to lose that because of some like negativity and toxicity on the internet would have been such a shame. And I feel like having that bad experience made me a stronger person, and I feel like it made me really sure on what I was trying to say here on my YouTube channel and on my new Flickr, 1000 Splendid Dolls. And I feel like that break is like what gave me the clarity that I needed when it came to doll collecting, and that it's just about fun. It's just about what makes me happy. It's not about what's better. It's not about what's worse. And I got into so many awesome things. Like, we got really back into American Girl. I got into Moxie Girls, and Moxie Girls are the reason I got really good at flat ironing doll hair. And they're the reason I learned to love making hair accessories and earrings. I mean, I already did those things, but they got me really, really into my artsy side with the dolls. Like, my earrings used to be small and tasteful, and then I got Moxie Girls, and I was like, polymer clay! Huge, chunky earrings. And I'm just like really glad for that. Like, it was so freeing. And I just remember, like, I'd be like, oh, Colleen, we just bought this Moxie Girl everyone said is trash on Flickr, but guess what? I don't have to answer to anyone. And I feel like that's the thing about social media, is sometimes you feel like you have to answer to other people, or you have to defend yourself or justify yourself, or you get so wrapped up in everyone else's opinion that you don't hear your own voice. And I feel like by taking a break and evaluating, I've learned how to like stay true to myself and pure. And sometimes taking a step back from something is the best thing you can do to reevaluate. And the internet's not a bad thing, and social media and other doll collectors are not the enemy, and the world is not full of only negative people. But I think it's good to have thick skin and
a sense of self.
A sense of self, yeah. And that it's not about what anyone else thinks, it's about what you think. For our non-doll related thing we're grateful for, we both decided that we wanted to talk about like animals, specifically our pets. So I think it'd be cool if we like said something we loved about each individual pet of ours and like what we're thankful for about
That's
them.
a great idea.
Okay, so I'll start with Andy because he's our oldest pet, our cat Andy. He's fluffy. You guys see him in the videos all the time. I love Andy because he is like such a loyal cat, and like the moment we met, like we fell in love. And the funny thing is, like, I had this cat, Peter Pan, that I loved. Like, I raised him from when he was a kitten. Like, he was my baby. And then he died suddenly. He got really sick, and I was heartbroken. And it was in the middle of winter, and my dad wanted to get me a cat. So we ended up finding this listing for a ragdoll cat. And, you know, I thought it would be like a cute little kitten because he was 8 months old. And we went there, and he was this fluffy,
monster,
huge cat. And I don't like fluffy cats usually. And he was like not little or like, you know, kitten cute anymore. And I'm sitting there like, I don't want this. And he comes up on the couch, and I like hold out my hand, and he starts playing with my hand, and he was like obsessed with me from that moment. And that's what I remember the most about Andy. And he's just, when you look at him, it's like he's smarter than your average cat. Like, it's like he knows more than like a regular cat.
Yeah, he's great.
So then there's Oliver.
I mean, you're never gonna meet a cat that's friendlier or nicer. I mean, he's a purr machine. He's very animated, he's crazy, he's spastic. He makes a lot of cameo appearances because he's, wherever he hears Shelly's voice, he usually goes.
Yep.
And he's just the most lovable thing. And another thing that, when I look at Oliver, I feel especially grateful because I remember back when my dad got sick in 2009, I remember looking at Andy and Oliver and thinking, you know, about how my life was going to change and how the thing that I most didn't want to lose, besides obviously Dad and Shelly, was Andy and Oliver. That I loved them more than anything, and that I'm just so grateful when I look at Oliver every day that we still have him. And I'm also grateful he didn't die of a broken heart because my childhood dog Haley died of a broken heart because she missed my mom so much, and Dad really loved Oliver and Oliver really loved Dad.
There's Roxy, and Roxy's probably the most special pet to me. She's our guinea pig. She's our first guinea pig that we had as adults. We rescued her from a hoarding situation, and Roxy is the reason that I kind of reconnected with my love for animals. And she taught me so much about what it really means to own pets. Like, I'll admit, when I was a kid, I would be like, oh, that's cute, I want it. And I wouldn't think about what was best for the pet or what would make them happy. And I could often treat pets like an inconvenience. And when Roxy came from a really bad home and I saw her just soak up all of those things. Like the first time we turned on the water to fill up her water bottle and she heard water running, she got so excited because she didn't have water and it was like 80 degrees out. And when I first changed her bedding and she was running through the clean shavings and squeaking, and when we first got her a friend and she was so happy to have a friend, where that night we bought Nevaeh because Phoebe died. Phoebe was Roxy's friend from her original home. She looked at Nevaeh and then looked at me like she understood we got Nevaeh for her. Like, Roxy is like awesome. And I know people write off guinea pigs and small pets as like not having the same capacity of feeling or love as like a big pet, but they really do. And when like I realized that, it made me want to give the best to all my pets and like treat them like I treat my dolls. And also like it made me want to go vegetarian because I just couldn't like stand the thought of eating anything that could feel like Roxy. And she's just, I like cry when I think about Roxy because
I do too. I cry all the time at Roxy.
You want to talk about Isla?
Yes, I was going to ask you about Isla. So going out of order, we'll talk about Isla before Nevi. So Isla, oh my God, she's so curious and so full of life, and she's just so funny. Like I look at Isla and I laugh. She is like such a little trooper. She's just so entertaining, and I just see her little face and I just laugh. I mean, Isla just makes me smile.
She's also awesome because like nothing phases her.
Yeah,
like when Charlie, the chinchilla, was like looking at her through the cage when he was out for playtime, she just like came right up to him and was like, "Hi, hello," and he was like trying to grab her through the cage, and she was like, "Hi."
Yeah, she's awesome. Go with the flow. She's very sweet.
Call her our happy hand. Here's Nevaeh. So Nevaeh is actually a replacement guinea pig. We adopted Phoebe from the same home as Roxy, but like the next day, and Phoebe was really sickly. We think like her pee was a weird color and she was really just weird looking, like her eyes looked wrong, and she ended up dying from what we think was a heat stroke. We took her to the vet, but it was too late, and I was heartbroken. Like I was crying. I felt like I killed her. I mean, the people at the vet's office felt so bad for me because I was hysterical, and I didn't want to look at a guinea pig again, like because I was so heartbroken. But seeing how much more heartbroken Roxy was, I knew we had to get her a friend, and we just didn't have time to look into adoption or anything, so we went to PetSmart and we had to get Nevaeh.
I mean, I called like 10 other PetSmarts too.
And she didn't even look like a guinea pig. She was like this big. She looked like a little skunk.
We called her the skunk mouse.
And she was terrified. She would hide. She wouldn't eat in front of you. She wouldn't drink in front of you. And she spent all day in their old, like really tiny cage hiding behind the igloo because she was so terrified of everything. I kept missing Phoebe, but I knew in my heart, like, I'm going to have Nevaeh for way longer, and eventually, you know, her personality will come out. Well, Nevaeh is now, like, my baby, and, like, I'm her favorite. Like, she gives me so many kisses, and when she sees me, like, she'll, like, want to leave calling for me, and when she's scared, she comes to me. Like, she's, like, my child. Like, I, like, feel like she's, like, from me, because we're that, like, deeply connected, and she's so like sassy. I say she's like me as a guinea pig because like she's like pretty neat and she gets mad at the other guinea pigs when they move things around.
I'm like Isla. I'm annoying. I eat everything. Yeah. I look for trouble.
And like Nevaeh's tiny, but like when she was a baby, she would boss Roxy around. She would like go up under Roxy and like move Roxy's body with hers. And like that's like me, like I'm small, but like I always like was stronger than I looked, and I can be pretty bossy, so I just really connect with her. So then our last pets are the two chinnies.
I'll talk about Charlie. You know, I know that they're new, but we're very grateful to have them. I mean, Charlie is just like, I say he's like a calendar chinchilla, like he could do chin modeling, because like he has the sweetest face, like the way he like cocks his little head, like when he's looking. He's not as like rambunctious as Clyde, like he's almost sympathetic, the way he looks at the guinea pigs and curiosity, and the way that he's like very lovable. He really makes me smile because he's sweet pea. He's a sweet pea, and he's got like the sweetest face and the sweetest personality.
When he sleeps in the hammock.
Oh my God, and the way when he hides on top of the igloo, Like, that's my favorite thing is looking at him on top of the igloo. He like crunches in this little ball. He's just such a sweetie pie, and I didn't expect to like feel as much for him or to even be able to tell him apart from Clyde, because at first I was like, they look exactly
They
the
look
same.
so much the same. There's Clyde. Oh, Clyde is, I call him Harry Houdini because he is like an escape artist when we have him out for playtime.
He's kind of like Isla as a chinchilla.
Yeah, and I just remember like the night we brought him home, and his old owner had come with us to like bring the other half of the cage and help us set it up, and he like jumped out and was like on the floor that very night running around, and like he'll come right up to you and sniff you, and like I remember he was like just walking around the cage picking up things and eating it, and I had him out for playtime. The first time Charlie wouldn't leave the cage, but Clyde went out and he started chewing the brick around the wood stove, and like he's just like, he owns it, you
And
know?
he lets me pet the side of his face.
Yeah, and he lets me pet his belly and under his chin. And he's like really lovable and also really naughty. And like no matter how well you barricade the living room, he will find a way to get where you've barricaded him. He wants to go where he's not supposed to.
He thinks that's where the party's at.
I am about to show you one of the cutest things known to mankind. I had to turn on the camera out of the room because I didn't want to scare the chinchillas. Let me show you. Charlie is in the hammock. Do you see this? Do you see his cute little face? Look at that cute face. He looks like a little squirrel. And there's Clyde. Say hi, Clyde. Say hi. And there's Purple. Hi. Good boy. There's a little face. He turned around. So cute. Charlie loves the hammock. So, we love them very much, even though we've only had them for about 2 weeks.
I'm really grateful to have them as part of our family this year.
So
it was our Christmas present to ourselves.
I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we're going to be doing a third installment next weekend, so stay tuned for that. And until next time, love your dolls, love yourself, and love your life.